Hi, I'm Gaith. In this episode, one will tell you about one of the mystery story that happened in America. The disappearance of the American girl. It was a beautiful summer day in the woods of Northern California when 16-year-old Emily went missing. She had gone on a hike with her family, but at some point during the excursion, she had wandered off on her own. Her parents searched frantically for her, calling out her name and scouring the surrounding area, but she was nowhere to be found. The authorities were called, and a search party was dispatched to comb the woods for any sign of Emily. As the hours turned into days, the search became more intense, but still, no clues emerged. It was as if the girl had vanished into thin air. A week went by, and hope was beginning to fade. But then, a note was found taped to a tree deep in the woods. It was in Emily's handwriting and read simply, "Follow me." The search party was electrified by this discovery and immediately set out in the direction indicated by the note. As they made their way through the dense forest, they came across more notes, each one leading them further into the wilderness. The notes were cryptic and unsettling, and the search party began to feel as if they were being led into a trap. But they pressed on, their determination to find Emily overriding their fear. And then, they stumbled upon a clearing where a small cabin stood. It was old and run down, but there was smoke coming from the chimney, indicating that someone was inside. The search party approached the cabin cautiously, calling out Emily's name. But there was no answer. They knocked on the door, but it was locked. And then, they noticed a small window on the side of the cabin. They peered inside and saw a figure lying on a cot in the corner. It was Emily. She was alive, but barely. She was malnourished and dehydrated, and her clothes were torn and dirty. She was rushed to the hospital, where she was treated for her injuries and questioned by the authorities. What had happened to her? How had she survived for a week in the woods? Emily was initially reluctant to talk, but eventually, she began to reveal her story. She had been on the hike with her family, but she had grown bored and decided to explore on her own. She had wandered deeper and deeper into the woods, becoming lost and disoriented. As the sun began to set, Emily realized that she was in trouble. She had no food or water and no way to call for help. She decided to leave a note on a tree, hoping that someone would find it and come to her rescue. But as she continued to wander, she began to feel as if she was being followed. She couldn't see anyone, but she could sense a presence in the woods around her. She became frightened and began to run, trying to escape whatever it was that was pursuing her. And then, she saw the cabin. It was a welcome sight, a place of refuge in the middle of the wilderness. But when she entered, she realized that she was not alone. There was someone there, someone who had been watching her. Emily didn't know who this person was or what they wanted from her. All she knew was that she was in danger. She had no way to defend herself and no way to escape. For a week, Emily was trapped in the cabin with her mysterious captor. She was too weak to fight back and too scared to try to escape. She survived on scraps of food and water that were left for her and spent most of her time huddled in a corner, waiting for help to arrive. And then, one day, she woke up to find that her captor was gone. The door to the cabin was unlocked, and she was free to leave. She stumbled out into the sunlight and was found by the search party shortly afterward. The investigation into Emily's disappearance began in earnest after her rescue. The authorities combed the cabin for clues, searching for any evidence that might lead them to her captor. They found nothing. Emily was able to provide some details about her time in captivity, but her memories were hazy and incomplete. She couldn't remember what her captor looked like, and she had no idea why they had taken her. As the weeks turned into months, the case grew cold. There were no leads, no suspects, no clues. Emily was left to try to rebuild her life after the trauma she had endured. But then, a breakthrough came. A witness came forward, claiming to have seen a man in the woods around the time of Emily's disappearance. He described the man as tall and thin, with long hair and a beard. He said the man had been acting strangely, muttering to himself and looking over his shoulder as if he was being followed. The witness's description matched that of a man who had been living in the woods for years, known to the locals as the hermit. He was a recluse, rarely seen by anyone, and was rumored to be mentally unstable. The authorities immediately began to investigate the hermit, searching his cabin and questioning his neighbors. And then, they found it, a piece of clothing that belonged to Emily, hidden away in a drawer in the hermit's cabin. The hermit was arrested and charged with Emily's abduction. He denied any involvement, claiming that he had never seen the girl before. But the evidence was against him, and he was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Emily was able to move on with her life, but the memory of her captivity haunted her for years. She struggled with anxiety and PTSD, but with the help of therapy and a supportive family, she was able to overcome her trauma and live a happy and fulfilling life. The disappearance of the American girl was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers that can lurk in even the most beautiful and peaceful of places. And for Emily, it was a reminder of her own strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. This is the end for our story. If you like it, please support us with a like and share the video with your friends. Goodbye.